Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm really happy to have you all here. We'll get started in a few minutes because I just want to give our attendees some more time to just join here. So let's just take a quick 30 seconds, and then we can get started. And in the meantime, for everyone who is here, so you can just drop a comment in chat box, and let me know where you're joining from. I'm in Hyderabad, India, and my team is on the webinar now from different parts of the US. So you can see Scott. So he's from Austin, Texas, and Vince, he's from Denver, Colorado. Okay, so I see people are still joining. I think we'll just wait for 10 more seconds and then we can get started. All right. So today in this session, we are going to explore how we can unlock the full power of NetSuite's automation features, specifically for financial workflows, right? So we'll talk about different ways to streamline your business processes, how we can improve reporting and make more confident decisions with better data analysis also. If this is your first time with us, a quick intro about me. So I'm a project manager at Twarana. You might know Twarana or 79 Consulting. So both are like sister companies. And, I have been working with NetSuite for over 11 years now. I handle everything from gathering client requirements to making sure projects are delivered with good quality and on time to meet the client's goals, right? So simply, I'm all about the strong communication, clear plans, and helping the clients succeed. All right. So before we dive in, I a quick word about who we are. So 79 Consulting started out as a Twarana back in 2007. And, over the years, we have grown into a global NetSuite services team with more than 150 experts. So Twarana still drives our product innovation. So you'll find all our products on suiteapp.com under Twarana, TVARANA, while 79 Consulting focuses on delivering the NetSuite services around the globe. Okay, so before we dive in, so just take a quick look on what we'll be covering today in this webinar, right? So we'll start with a quick overview of NetSuite workflows, what they are and how they help businesses streamline their operations, activities, everything. And then we'll also walk you through some real world use cases that many of our clients are using today. So starting from the approval routing to automated emails and field updates, right? So, and next we'll go hands-on with some live demo. Scott will be showing you that about some multi-level vendor bill payment approval workflows, including how we can use save searches and transitions to automate decision making. Okay, so from there, we'll explore a few advanced automation scenarios like email-based bill approvals and scheduled workflows that catches basically any missed payments to vendors or unused prepayments. And finally, we'll wrap things up with a quick demo of our financial close tool. Vince will be showing you that. So which helps manage period and activities so directly within NetSuite and with no spreadsheets needed at all. And finally, we'll end with the question and answer session. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go. We'll try to get as many questions as answered, as we can at the end. All right. So now let's get started, right? So um, We have today Scott Robertson, who brings 15 years of NetSuite experience and deep understanding in some of NetSuite's most advanced features. Scott, want to say hello?
Yeah, hello everybody. As Navina said, I'm Scott Robertson, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. I lead the optimization effort here at 79 Consulting, and our goal is to help our clients maximize their investment in NetSuite and utilize it to optimize their business operations. I've been a CEO at my own company. I've also, where we utilize NetSuite, I've also been a NetSuite consultant helping others with their systems. So I can appreciate the challenge of trying to run your businesses while also trying to keep up on this, up to speed on all that NetSuite has to offer. So I think that today's webinar will be helpful.
Thank you, Scott. So we also have Vincent Lee, who is our resident NetSuite expert on all things on finance. Vince, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, Navina. I'm Vincent Lee. I've been with 79 Consulting now for just a couple of months, but I have known the 79 Consulting team for about 12 years, which is not quite as long as I've been working with NetSuite. But I have worked with the good folks here for quite a long time. Prior to that, I was in 20 plus years as a senior financial executive, from vice president of finance to controller, for both large companies and small startups and companies that have been around for a while. So I'm pretty good at knowing what people need in terms of managing their close and trying to get the most out of the system as quickly as possible. And I'm looking to help do a demo today of how we would like organizations to manage their monthly financial close process. Back to you, Navina.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Vince. So let's start with the basics now. So, Scott, how would you define a workflow in NetSuite?
Yeah, great question. So at its core, a workflow in NetSuite is a visual, no-code automation tool and allows users to define and execute business processes using conditional logic, actions, state transitions, all without having to write a single line of suite script. So think of it as kind of like a powerful drag and drop tool for process automation.
That sounds incredibly user friendly. So it's not just about simple automation, right? But about building sophisticated processes without needing to be a developer. So can you elaborate on some key concepts that make up a NetSuite workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. So workflows are built around workflow states, triggers, conditions, and actions. And we'll talk about all of those as we go through the demo. And these components allow you to define the different stages of a process, what initiates an action, when that action should occur, and what actually happens when it does. They primarily support record level process automation, so you can automate things like approvals, field updates, and email alerts directly to your NetSuite records. And of course, workflows can also be enhanced with scripts if you do want some more advanced customization. And that goes kind of beyond the point and click, no code approach. And that, of course, gives you the flexibility to handle complex conditions and customize automations further to fit your business requirements.
That gives us a good foundation, Scott. Thank you. So now shall we talk about the practical side of it? So what are some of the common use cases where you see clients implementing NetSuite workflows?
Yeah, great question. So the possibilities are really extensive. Some of the most common applications that we see and that we help our clients with are multi-level approval workflows, which we'll show today. So this is for things like purchase order or vendor prepayments, ensuring that the proper checks and balances are in place. Email notifications based on certain record statuses or field changes. Field automation, such as auto-assigning values to fields to maintain data consistency. Record locking after an approval, which is crucial for audit control. Status-based routing of transactions or records, guiding them through different stages, and even scheduled actions for delayed tasks or sending reminders.
Those definitely sounds like they can address a lot of pain points. And which modules do these workflows typically apply to in NetSuite?
Yeah, so again, they're very versatile. They apply to almost all the core NetSuite records, including transactions like sales orders, vendor bills, purchase orders, and invoices. Also, they can apply to entity records such as customers, vendors, and employees, and even custom records that you might have created for your unique business cases.
That's a great point, Scott. So, from a client's perspective, what would you say are the biggest benefits of using NetSuite workflows, and how do they genuinely help businesses operate more efficiently?
Yeah, great question, Navina. So certainly efficiency is an important benefit, but I think the real strength of NetSuite workflows lies in their power to align the system with your unique business operations. So clients aren't just looking to do things faster. They usually want to ensure that their processes, whatever are unique to their businesses, are mirrored within NetSuite. Exactly how their business works, they want to mimic that process. So workflows allow businesses to embed their specific rules, their approval hierarchies, their operational logic directly into NetSuite without needing to code, as we mentioned. So that means that your internal processes can be reflected exactly the way you want them, system-wide, ensuring NetSuite functions as an extension of your existing business practice. It's one of the strengths of NetSuite is that you can customize it to your business process. It doesn't require you to adapt to its process. So it's all about replicating real-world decision-making in your system, and that never forgets, never skips steps, and evolves as your business evolves.
Yeah, that's again definitely a great point. So, instead of forcing the business to adapt to a tool, we are letting the tool adapt to the business, right?
Exactly. And it really doesn't stop there, Navina. Workflows also give you real-time visibility and control. You can track the entire approval history, see where a process is stuck, or identify bottlenecks all with just a few clicks. And that transparency leads to stronger governance, fewer compliance issues, and better collaboration across your teams.
Yeah, that's a comprehensive overview, Scott. Thank you for that. And so now let's dive a bit deeper into the building blocks by examining the key components we use when configuring a workflow. But before we do that, I'm going to pop in a quick poll that you should see coming up on the screen in front of you. So while Scott gets ready for his demo, so please take a moment to answer the poll. All right. Thank you, everyone. Scott, would you like to present your demo on the workflows?
Sure. So let's start with a common business case. Let's think about where you have a multi-level bill approval where many organizations need different approval flows based on the amount of the payment. So for instance, for small payment might only require one approval, or it might be auto-approved, while a larger one needs several layers of oversight. So for instance, payments say from 0 to 50,000 need approvals from an accountant. Payments from 50,000 to say 200,000 require approval from both an accountant and a finance manager, and then payments above 200,000 require approvals from an accountant, a finance manager, and a CFO. So managing these manually can be prone to errors, delays, a lot of back and forth, and this is where NetSuite's powerful automation capabilities come into play perfectly. So to save time, we've already built a multi-level approval workflow that reflects these thresholds and roles and to streamline the approvals in a fully automated way. We'll pull that up now. All right. So we've designed an elegant and efficient strategy to implement this multi-level approval process directly within NetSuite, leveraging its native functionality. So our first step is to create a dynamic save search that categorizes your bill payments based on their amount. So these save searches are the backbone of our approval logic, as I mentioned before, because they automatically identify which transactions fall into each approval. And more importantly, the beauty of save searches is that you can update these thresholds without having to go in and touch your workflow. So you can just change them in the save search, and then your workflow is automatically created. So we have a save search for amounts under 50,000. We have another save search for one from 50,000 up to 200,000, and finally one for above 200,000. So we have these three save searches in our system. Okay, so we've categorized our bill payments with those safe searches, and now let's go ahead and go into the heart of the automation by building this multi-step approval. So our objective here is clear. Every bill payment request will flow through this correct approval channels based on its value. And we're going to set up a powerful 4-state approval model. Okay, so let's break down this workflow, keeping in mind that it will ultimately end in one of 2 terminal states. It'll either be approved or rejected if any stage denies the request. So each state will update the standard approval status field, pending approved, approved, or rejected. And then we use a custom field like custom approval stage to track exactly where the request is currently pending based on the workflow. So state 1 here is start. This is where every workflow happens. Anytime a payment is created in NetSuite, this workflow will get triggered. Think of it as kind of the initial checkpoint. Here's the custom approval stage field will be set to pending accountant. When your bill lands here, your accountants will have 2 clear options to either approve or reject. And they'll be dynamically shown in their role in this current state of approve or reject. And this will be an email that they receive. If the bill amount is $50,000 or less, NetSuite instantly auto approves it and zips straight to state 4 approved. So once you get that first level of approval, then if it's under $50,000, then it will go straight to the approved status. If the bill is more than $50,000, then the workflow will automatically forward it now an email to the finance manager, who go through the same process. Finance manager will either approve or reject, and if approved, then it will, if it's under $200,000, then it will skip over to the approved status, or just like before, if it's over $200,000, then the workflow will send it one more approval to the CFO to approve. And if at any stage it gets rejected, it will go into the reject status. If at any stage it gets approved and then the amount threshold is correct, then it will end up in the approval status. So once it gets to the approved status, there's another action that happens. The bill becomes locked for further edits. So no more authorized changes. And the system automatically updates the approval status field to approved. So regardless of how many steps it took there to finally get to the approval status, then those are the final steps that are taken when you get there. And finally, this state can trigger any downstream actions you've set up. So you can send out automatic notifications or even initiating the actual payment process if your system's configured for it. So that's a high-level overview of how this multi-level approval can be set up. Of course, you could have more levels, less levels, and all you need to do to affect that is update your saved searches and then just either add or remove a level here of approval depending on your specific need. Okay, so to summarize, what a workflow like this does for you is there's no manual routing. The users don't have to guess who should approve the bill. They don't have to send emails and ask for approvals. It's done via NetSuite. There's dynamic thresholds where finance can even update their approval levels if they want to change those thresholds. There's no IT dependency on that. It's just updating a saved search filter. You have cleaner inboxes because the approvers only see the bills that are relevant to them. There's not just a massive list that you're sending all these approval requests out to. No noise and no clutter. You get the full visibility into rejections. With rejection reasons captured via pop-up, finance teams can take informed corrective actions when they see what was rejected, and there's minimal code. You can execute all of this without any code other than a little bit to set up those saved searches, which isn't really code. So these are very straightforward drag and drop options that are available to you. And so this approach showcases how NetSuite can empower your organization to build robust, scalable, and user-friendly financial processes, even without extensive development work.
Thank you, Scott, for the excellent explanation. I especially liked how even rejection handling is made transparent and audit friendly in NetSuite, because I can see it's clear how powerful NetSuite's native functionalities are with a touch of scripting, a little bit of customizations on the defining multi-level approval workflows. It's showing us that it can address a lot of common business challenges on a lot of transactions too, right? So now let's walk through some real world business scenarios where our NetSuite solutions have helped clients and how they have created a visible impact. I know you have worked closely with several clients before. So can you explain us what kind of challenges they were facing before this automation?
Yeah, thank you, Navina. This is a very common struggle that we see. And typically they are struggling with two main challenges. There's either delays in approvals where maybe the CFO or the finance manager is unavailable, traveling, or on leave, and the approval chain breaks, leading to missed payment deadlines and vendor penalties potentially, or missed follow-ups where the finance teams are frequently forgetting to act on pending bills, applying prepayments properly, and this can result in duplicate payments, unused advance balances, and vendor escalations.
So how did we solve that with NetSuite?
So we implemented a unified automation solution entirely within NetSuite using two key approaches. And so let's break them down. So the first approach, which has been a game changer, is we built expedited vendor bill approvals through email. So this directly tackles the challenge of unavailable approvers. Imagine that critical vendor bills are piling up while a senior executive is traveling or unavailable. Our NetSuite solution empowers these decision makers to approve or reject the bills directly from their email without needing to log into NetSuite. And this drastically cuts down on the approval times and prevents payment bottlenecks.
I'm sure a lot of users who joined today can relate to this, and because it's very practical, easy for the users, and no login hassles too.
Yeah, exactly. And here's how it works kind of behind the scenes. So a team member might initiate the vendor bill or prepayment, and a designated checker reviews it for accuracy and compliance. And once that is saved, then an email notification goes out to an approver. And they receive an email with all the critical details, including attachments if that's how it's set up, like a PDF summary of the bill. And the approver simply replies to the email with approve or reject. They don't have to log into NetSuite. They don't have to do anything more than just review and approve or reject. And then on the back end, there's a Suite script that monitors the mailbox and automatically updates the NetSuite transaction record in real time. So this setup dramatically reduces the approval delays while maintaining full traceability and audit control. And so let's take a look at a screenshot of how the email approval appears to the approver. So you see here's some just basic details about a specific bill, and you'll see that all they need to do is check approve or reject. And so this can be done in a few short moments, even if an approver is on the road or unavailable to log into the system. Most everybody checks their email as they're away.
That's a fantastic overview, Scott. So are there any other scenarios you would like to highlight where our NetSuite solutions have made a significant difference for clients?
Yeah, absolutely. The beauty of our email approval solution is its versatility. So it extends beyond the core finance team to empower a wider range of users, ensuring that no approval ever becomes a bottleneck, regardless of their NetSuite access or technical proficiency. In fact, it's very common for approval chains to include users with limited NetSuite access. So maybe they don't really log into NetSuite often or have limited access if they do. With email, they can still approve or reject just via their email. Sometimes business stakeholders that have no login access to approval, maybe it's a board member, maybe it's a high-level executive, they can be involved in the approval chain just by email as well. And then it also simplifies approvals for non-technical users. They don't need to log in and be trained on how to use the NetSuite interface. Everybody knows how to use email. So the important part is that whether someone has access to NetSuite or not, they can be a part of the approval chain just by our email automation. Now, the second scenario that our solution solves is handling missed due dates and unapplied prepayments. So this is really about payment-related oversights, if you will. So the first one are missed bill due dates. Even though NetSuite does calculate due dates based on terms, Users may still overlook them or forget to notice or not run the right report. So to avoid this, we build a scheduled workflow that runs every day at 6 a.m. and checks for vendor bills that are open or vendor bills that have a due date of today, that are overdue or maybe due within a few days. And then it sends a targeted email reminder to the responsible team, listing the vendor name and the bill details and clearly flagging it as due today or overdue. So it prompts them to act versus them having to go in and check on their own. And then the second option is if vendor prepayments aren't applied to bills. So it's very common for companies to make advance payments, but when the bill arrives, the prepayment's forgotten and someone doesn't check to look that there is a prepayment there. So this workflow finds vendor prepayments that are still open or vendors with unpaid bills and then alerts the user that the vendor prepayment is still open and to please apply, this prepayment to open bill for vendor ABC.
So that's not only just automation. Basically, it's a protection against missed payments and idle balances also, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And really, to summarize it, bills don't slip through the cracks, prepayments get applied on time, and finance stays ahead of these risks instead of reacting to them after the fact and trying to undo actions that were missed. So together, both workflows ensure process discipline without manual chasing, so that finance teams can focus on the more high value tasks and just chasing down bill payments. So let's take a quick look at a screenshot of an email notification triggered by the scheduled workflow. So of course this can be customized, but this is a very basic thing. Is the team member gets an email that says, please review your vendor prepayments that are open for more than 30 days. You click on that link and it takes you straight into this vendor report. And this can have additional details and triggers however you want to trigger that solution.
Scott, thank you again for sharing your valuable insights and demonstrating how these NetSuite solutions can truly make a difference, right? Okay, so before we move on to the final section of our webinar, I have one last poll to share with you all. You should see it coming up on your screen right now. Just take a quick second to fill that. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. So now let's shift our gaze a bit and jump over to Vince. One area we haven't touched on yet, but where a lot of finance teams still struggle is the financial close. Even with NetSuite in place, we see a surprising number of teams still using spreadsheets to track close activities. Vince, what do you think?
So I think that's the case. Oftentimes, what I've found is during implementations or optimization is that the clients are asking what the financial close process is in NetSuite, and they're often disappointed to find out that they're only really specific to closing the software. And so we've come up hopefully with a solution to that can make your life easier, not just for closing your books, but also for managing certain tasks within a month so that they don't get forgotten. And so I'm going to, in a few minutes here, I'm going to go ahead and show a demo of this particular activity. But what I want to mention here with respect to this particular product is this kind of targeted towards accountants and controllers and those people who are responsible for the accuracy of financial statements. They can also be associated with project managers who are overseeing certain finance operations or auditors. And so in just a moment here, we'll go ahead and we'll click on the product and show it to you. And so give me just a moment, Navina. I think I'm going to just slide this over and share my screen. So what I should be sharing right now is a NetSuite instance that we have with this product in it. If you see me on the webinar, you're probably going to see me moving a little bit to my left here because I have this on a different screen. Okay, so I'm going to chat through the process here, and you'll see how easy this product is to use and the benefits of being able to manage your closing activities this way. So this is simply the main screen that we happen to have here with this particular application. On the list menu here, at the very bottom, you're going to see a financial close activities. This is really, like I said, broader than just financial close, but it's kind of a two-step process. You're going to click on this when you're a new user, and you're going to see basically a blank screen here. You have two buttons up here on the financial close activities list. The first button on the left allows you to create a new financial close. We call them templates. It allows you to create a template. And the second button over here allows you to create all the period activities that incur over the course of a particular period that you might have an interest in following. So let's just quickly go in here and click on the master template here. The master template is like any other template you might find in NetSuite. It's pretty easy here to put a name in here for an activity. I would try to keep them unique if you can. It's often best in NetSuite to do that, and make them descriptive. And we're just going to make this one really simple. We have the name of the activity, and that there are several other things that are really important and useful. None of them are required to be done, but you'll find that some of them are best managed. One is here's the parent field. If you have a parent activity here that this is a sub two in some fashion, you can go ahead and collect that or select that particular parent. If you can also assign these to be done by a certain individual. You'll see my name is on a lot of these here in this account. You can give a very strong description about what this activity actually means, what it is that the person who's been assigned this is supposed to do, and even add as many comments as you need to. This is a big text box. Okay. If this particular activity requires someone to review it, you can select it as a reviewed item, and you can go ahead and select who the reviewer should be. One of the more important things that you should identify here is what kind of frequency do you want this activity to be processed? Do you want it processed monthly? Does it need to be done quarterly? Is it annual? And there are different reasons for different activities to be done on a different time schedule. So what we can do here now is we can save this. Once we save this particular activity, it's now a new activity on our list. We can go ahead and go back to our list here. There's a couple ways to get there, but you can see now on the bottom is our managed deferred expense activities. The second setup piece that you would do here is now that we have all of our activities here, we can come along and we can sit down and say, look, I need to set this up for use for a particular period. We've done a lot of testing with this, so I apologize if I put this in a strange place and it doesn't behave well. I'm actually going to pick December of this year. Obviously, it's not December, but I'm going to go ahead and select that. Hopefully, I haven't done that yet. And I'm going to I can pick any of our review frequencies. Okay. If I select monthly, that's okay. I can come back and select quarterly as well. Excuse me. So I can go ahead and hit submit. Once the submission takes place here, it tells us how many periods we've created. So we've created 5 monthly records. And if I go to my next item on our financial close menu, which is our financial close activity list, I can select that. I should be able to come in here and select December of 2025. And these now are the activities for that period. Okay. So the activities are great. I mean, it's really easy once you've got your master list set up. You can just come in here on day 1 of your month. You can select these close activities that need to be managed, and you can get a list of them. Once you have this list, they can be used to manage almost your day-to-day operations here. For example, our first one is an AP review item. We're looking for somebody posting a transaction into the AP account that isn't supposed to be there. And so this is on your list of things to do before you want to lock your AP account. And so you might come in here and say, look, I am the reviewer. Actually, what you want to say, I am been assigned this activity. I'm going to go ahead and do whatever the description tells me to do. And over here is really some of the important stuff. Right now, it's not started, but I'm going to go ahead and I can switch it to in process. And I'm going to tell you how this kind of works, quite frankly, in just a moment. If I get through the entire process, I'm going to go ahead and set it as complete. It requires a review because that's the way we set it up in our template. And so fortunately for me, I'm also the reviewer. And so more likely than not, this is going to be somebody different. And so they're going to go through and they're going to be able to identify that, well, this has been completed. I've also reviewed this. Or they can come through here and the reviewer can come in and say, I'm rejecting this because of I need to add a note here. And so you got a pop-up that said, please add a note. So you would add a note in here that says why you rejected this activity. Okay. This then becomes in here, becomes in process. Then the reviewer needs to go, or not the reviewer, but the assignee needs to then come back into the system and follow the activities. Once you identify this as being complete or in process, you're going to see the activity status changes here. And you'll be able to follow all of these things along during the month that you happen to be in. So one of the best parts about this product is, one, you can manage these activities. Now, one of the things I failed to show you, and it's not really on here, but there's a documentation link here. This link would be to, for example, your accounts payable report. You might have a deferred expenses like we created. You are going to have a standard link to a deferred search that tells you what your balances are in those things. And so each one of these closing period transactions or activities can in fact be tied to some sort of a report that says I have actually completed a review and that this is now accurate. These items don't have to be done on the last day of the period. These items can be done on the first day of your period. So depending on your accounting policies, you could have a whole list of activities that you don't need to be done during the month, and many of them can be done early so that you are not trying to go through a list on an Excel spreadsheet after the end of the month and see if everything has been complete. Once everything in your list, and I'm going to cheat here a little bit, once everything in your list is set to complete, you know you're in a position to go through your software flows, to lock all records, to complete the steps on your spreadsheet, and in fact, close your period. Then you turn around and you go back to your list, you come back to your master, you say, I'm going to close another period, and you click the button, and you come up with a new set of documents. The benefit about having all these documents saved is that they are great for your auditors. They can show to your auditors that you've been reviewing your transactions. You've been doing it periodically in accordance with your accounting policies. You'll have notes there that will identify that your reviewers have been paying attention. This is a great SOX opportunity, I think, for people to show that they are managing the process within their organization. The one thing that this product doesn't do at this time is it doesn't tie directly into the accounting software checklist. That checklist is a quote NetSuite checklist, but we're investigating the opportunity to actually make this part of that checklist process, that you have in fact completed all of your reviews and that you are have the ability to process the software close. That's pretty much the end of the demonstration. And hopefully that was quick and easy, because I know you've been through a lot of workflow today. And so, Navina, let me throw it back to you, and we'll kind of go from there. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vince. That was definitely a great walkthrough, because it's always exciting to see how these small changes, like streamlining the closing process, how they can free up time and reduce the end of month end chaos, right? So, all right. So, and that brings us to the end of today's session. I hope this gave you a practical look at how NetSuite workflows and custom tools can solve real bottlenecks, right? Whether it's around approvals, billing, or period close.
And for our committed audience, those who have stayed with us to the very end, we have something special. We have just made an executive decision to open up 25 exclusive spots for a full 2-month trial of this tool that Vince has just explained completely for free. So when we launch the poll in just a moment now, the first 25 people to respond will secure their spot. This is your reward from our side for being here, but you'll really have to be quick to answer the poll.
So, folks, if you have any questions, now is the time to drop them in the chat. So we'll be sticking around for a few more minutes to answer them. And additionally, if you'd like to explore any of these solutions for your own team, we'd be happy to set up a one-on-one conversation. So you can reach out to us using the contact info, which you can see on the screen in front of you. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just drop in the chat box. And thank you again for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you in our future session.